What's up, everybody? Got my son back there. I didn't know he was in this, but he's eating a donut and watching Trolls. Anyway, so today I'm going to show you how to make a commander-style deck, an EDH for your Magic the Gathering. And I went with a deck that doesn't typically hold much competition value. It's usually not very throwing in your face. This is one that this is a style deck that you would usually get together with your friends and just play casually with this one. This is a Jund deck, but I broke that unspoken rule of not making your decks OP, and I actually made this one extremely OP, and I was messing around with it earlier, and I was able to get my commander out on turn 3 and just cause havoc, and by like turn 12 I had control of the entire board. But anyway, so this is a Jund deck, which means it's black, red, green, swamp, mountain, forest. But this is a cursed Jund deck. And what I mean by that is there are a ton of curses in here, which is what gives me the control. So, without further ado, and you can see him, he's hiding now. But without further ado, I'm going to show you how to make a cursed Jund deck that you could use competitively. First things first. Obviously, I said I just want to show this style art, but obviously you got your swamps, mountains, and forests. So you want to run 5 of each of these, and don't worry about your lands, but you want to run 5 swamps, 5 mountains, and 5 forests. Your commander, you want to use a Lord Windgrace, and there are tons of commanders you can use for this style. This one's the best that I've used, and there are, once I get through the lands, there are some other, I think there's 2 other ones you can use as alternatives if you want to make this even more, like, mean. But, with him, as he's in your command zone, yeah, you're looking there, so you can only run your 3 colors, but when he pops out, his +2, discard a card, then draw a card, and if it's a land card, if a land card is discarded this way, then draw an additional card. So that's a +2, not bad. Your -3, return up to 2 target land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. And then your ulti, destroy up to 6 target non-land permanents, then create 6 2/2 green cat warrior creature tokens with Forest Walk. That is what made, when I was running this just casually, that's what made this just completely OP. Planeswalkers aren't typically your commanders, but as it says on there, Lord Windgrace can be your commander. So we'll go ahead and put him up there. We'll remove our basic lands. And with commander, you can only have 100 cards. 99 cards outside of your commander. But you need some fetch lands. So you want to run a Cinder Barrens, so you can get either a black or red. You want to run a Foul Orchid, so you can get a black or green. Then you want to get to some searchers. Rogue's Passage. Add one mana to your mana pool. That's a turn. And then you can, for a cost of 4 and a tap, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Rogue's Passage. Reliquary Tower. This is an amazing card, especially for this, because you get no maximum hand size, and you can tap it for a colorless mana. So the only reason he's in there is for no maximum hand size, so you can have more than 7 cards in your hand. Gingerbread Cabin, land forest that adds a green, but Gingerbread Cabin enters the battlefield tapped. Bleh. Unless you control 3 or more forests. Don't worry about that. But when he becomes untapped, you can create a food token, and it's an artifact, and for the 2 costs you sacrifice it and gain 3 life. So that's your life gain. for when he becomes untapped. So there's your life. Some life. There's a lot of life running in here. Baron Moor, another land, and you just add one whenever he's tapped. You just add one black, and then you can, for the cost of one, you can cycle. So you discard this card and draw two. So that's all that one is. You just got him for either or. Witch's Cottage, another one that just adds a black land. When the Witch's Cottage enters the battlefield, tapped unless 3 or more swamps. Yeah, you know those with those searchers. When Witch's Cottage enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. I ran it. It works, but I didn't really need to use this card too much. It just sat there just in case. But you do got your mana. Bajuka Bog. If you're not running this when you're running black, then what are you doing, really? I mean, it's Bajuka Bog. Everybody hates this card. Everybody loves this card. It enters the battlefield tapped. When Bajuka Bog enters the battlefield, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. And then tap it, and it adds for 1. But, yeah, put that in the battlefield, got rid of all their cards. That's in their graveyard. This is a new card, and I just threw it in here because I just really love the card art on it. Unknown Shores comes from Theros Beyond Death. Adds 1 colorless mana, and then you can pay a mana and tap it for 1 mana of any color. Terramorphic Expanse. Of course, you got to have a Terramorphic Expanse inside of your commander. What does this do? You just sacrifice it, and you search your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle it. That's just a land searcher. If you're not running it, then whatever. It's just a simple one to get some basic land out. Labyrinth of Scophos. This is another one from Theros Beyond Death. It adds a colorless mana. Take 4. Remove target attacking or blocking creature from combat. There is a red Scophos creature card. It's Scophos of something. Scophos of Maze Warrior or something like that. That goes with this, and you can play him for free when you target a blocking creature. And what he does is he just fights that creature. It's a good way to not only remove creatures, but destroy creatures. But he's not in this deck. You can run him if you wanted to. He's useless when you're just removing it anyway. This is the card that, when I played it on here, got it loaded. Of course, you got to have your Lotus Field. Why? Because it keeps you loaded. Gives you hexproof, and Lotus Field enters the battlefield tap. And when it untaps, sacrifice 2 lands. If you play them in turn 1, then you don't have that, but whatever. But boom, boom. When he untaps, add 3 mana of any 1 color. So, gotta have your Lotus Field. Speaking of the Lotus Fields, Gilded Lotus, add 3 mana of any 1 color. So your Lotus gives you more mana. Chromatic Lantern, lands you can have control of. You tap it, add 1 mana of any color. Lands you have control of. You can tap them and give me any 1 color, and then with this one, add 1 mana of any color. So yeah, it just makes your mana any color that you need. So when you're playing that one, don't worry about what you got on there, because you can just mix and match whatever you need to make what you need. Crucible of Worlds artifact. You may play land cards from your graveyard. So when people want to remove your land cards, bring them out. And that's not basic lands. That's all lands. Any land card. Pull them out of your graveyard and just keep on playing it. That is an expensive card too, by the way. Look at that card art. This entire deck probably runs, I'll have to look it up, it probably runs somewhere around like $200 or so. This is an expensive deck. Soul Ring for 1 cost. Artifact. Of course you gotta run Soul Ring. Every single commander deck has a Soul Ring. And if you can play that Lotus Field with this on turn 2, yeah. You can pull your commander out and you can really just turn 3. You've got horribleness. Everybody's horrible. Here's an alternative that you can run as a commander. And it's not a bad one. It's actually a really, really good one. Here is, whoops, foils. There we go. Thantis the War Reaver. So, legendary creature spider has vigilance, reach, and all creatures attack each combat if able. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, put a 1/1 counter on Thantis the Weaver. So, starts as a 5/5, but whenever you get attacked on, that gets built up. And with Commander, you got 40 life, so you can make him really, really big. If you wanted to go that route and make this game really, really fast. He's an alternative. He's really good. Another alternative, this one's the weaker one, and usually when you get a pack, a pre-made pack for Commander, you get the one really good one, you get the one decent one, and then you get the one that's kind of garbage. And this one's kind of garbage, but it runs in this deck really, really well. Geras, Waker of the Corpus, enters the battlefield with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. So that X cost is whatever mana you got. So he gets huge, potentially. Whenever Geras attacks, you may exile target creature card with lesser power from your graveyard. If you do create a token, that's a copy of that card, and that's tapped and attacking. Exile the token at the end of combat. So you just play cards for free with him. So you're going to make copies of them, and you're going to play them for free. They're going to die, so don't worry about that. But it gives them a reason to either get into their life total or get rid of those 1/1 tokens that people play, because people play a lot of those. So he plays really good as a card, as a creature card to play, not as a commander. He's horrible as a commander, in my opinion. You guys might think otherwise. Witch's Oven. Of course, you thought this one was going to be in here, and of course it is. And sacrifice a creature, create a food token. If the sacrificed creature's toughness was 4 or greater, create 2 food tokens instead. This gets ridiculous for your for anything that you have token wise that's going to give you free health. He gets ridiculous. So that's why he's in there. There's another reason, but I don't know where the card is, because everything's really randomized in here right now. Bone Crusher Giant. Got your adventure card. He's an instant adventure. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Stomp deals 2 damage to any target. Can't be prevented, so boom, stomp him. Go ahead and hit him. Then, when you bring him out for that 3 cost, whenever Bone Crusher Giant becomes the target of a spell, Bone Crusher Giant deals 2 damage to the spell's controller. So they're going to get hit by 4+2 pretty much all the time until they remove him. He's great to have. I got a couple giants in here. Now you get into your curses. Cursed of the Pierced Heart. Enchantment or a curse. Enchant player. At the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, Curse of the Pierced Heart deals 1 damage to that player. So this goes onto a player that you put it on. You curse a player, and they lose life every upkeep. So it is. Small cost, and yeah, it kills players. A Trespasser's Curse, another curse. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under enchanted player's control, that player loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. So there you go, losing more life, but you're gaining life on this one. Karn, the Great Creator. This card right here, I have about 15 cards set up as a sideboard that are just artifacts that I can pull out at any time whenever, well, not at any time, but when I have him on the battlefield. So his activated abilities of artifacts your opponent controls can't be activated. So artifacts don't work for opponents. His +1 until your next turn, up to 1 target non-creature artifact becomes an artifact creature with power and toughness each equal to its converted mana cost. And the reason he's in here, so you can play free cards. When you may choose an artifact card you own from outside of the game or in exile. Reveal that card and put it in your hand. So you're getting free cards. And this 100 card, so like I said, I have like 115 cards now, because those 15 cards I have are all artifacts that I can play whatever. They're just random artifacts that help me in this game. I think I have like a hammer in there that gives me 10/10 and trample. Amazing card to have. Galta, the Primal Hunter. When you can get her out for free, that is game. I was messing around and I got her with enchantments and everything else on her. I got her to be a 96. A 96 by turn like 10. It was ridiculous. So this spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control, and she has trample. So, yeah, like I said, you can get her out for free. And that's the total power of creatures you cost. And this is your power, and this is your toughness. So, if you've got 5 and a 5, you got 2, you're playing her for free. So, yeah, like I said, she got really big, really fast, and it got ridiculous with her. So that's why she's in here. Here's one of the reasons why she got really, really big. Ancestral Mask. Enchanted creature gets a 2/2 for each other enchantment in play. So it got those curses on there, so that puts 2/2s on there. So just think of that. So curses don't damage, and then she's getting added on to the 2/2s. She got huge. Then you can apply Luxodon Warhammer on Galta, and she gets a +3 and has trample and lifelink. So equip that onto her. She's just getting huge right now. Because lifelink, you're getting all that, everything she gets. Yours is getting that back. And then you can, the Colossal Hammer, throw that on there. That gives you a 10/10 if you've got that in there. Pop that on there. Look at it. She just got huge with all that lifelink. Galta's amazing in this deck. The Gritrog Monster. There's no Jund deck that doesn't have him in there, really. If you don't know about him, he's a Frog Horror. He has Death Touch. He's a huge creature that has Death Touch, so potentially everything. He can't be blocked by anything, essentially is how that's going to work. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice the Gritrog Frog unless you sacrifice a land. So he's getting rid of lands. Not a problem. But you may play an additional land on each of your turns. So you're sacrificing it, but you can play 2. Not bad. Whenever 1 or more lands are put into your graveyard from anywhere, draw a card. So he's good in there just because he has Death Touch and he's huge. So this is like towards your end game when you just want to like finish it. You're throwing him out there. Lavalanche. Lavalanche deals X damage to a target player or planeswalker and each creature that player or that planeswalker controller controls. So, field wipe, essentially. Just pay that mana cost for that in there. Put like 10 mana on it, whatever you got. And field wipe them. And then if you want to put 40 on there, if you've got that. Because you got green on here, it's going to mana ramp. Do it. Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike deals 3 damage to any target. So that player is taking 3 life. Decimate. Destroy target artifact, target creature, target enchantment, and target land. So that's just getting rid of everything. That's decimating everything. Ha! Moving on. The Bitterheart Witch. She is a cursed creature, essentially, if you will. She has Death Touch. She's 1/2, so she's a small one. When Bitterheart Witch dies, you may search your library for a cursed card. And you got curses in here. Put it onto the battlefield, attach to a target player, then shuffle your library. She's not a horrible cost, but you're playing a curse for free. So when she dies, you're playing a free card. You're attaching a curse to somebody. Windgrace's Judgment. For any number of opponents, destroy target non-land permanent that player controls. Yeah, it's Windgrace. You're playing Windgrace as your commander, so of course it had to be in there. You're just killing land. Moving on, getting this old card in here, Voracious Cobra. First strike, and when Voracious Cobra deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature. First strike, Death Touch. Yeah, 2/2 sounds small, right? So you're going to attack with him all the time, and he's just going to destroy everything. You got a 10/10 creature on there, go ahead and attack with him, because he gets the first strike, and he's going to die. That is just If you don't understand what is happening with this card, then you really need to learn your Magic. This card is ridiculous. It is broken. It is... I'm surprised it's not banned, but it's definitely forgotten, and it is disgusting. And you pull this out on people who don't know this, they're going to look at that card and they're just going to be like, what is going on here? That is what's happening with this card. So that's why he's in there. If he's not in your John deck, you need to put him in there. I got a bunch of Death Touch. Sir Conrad the Grim. Of course you got to have some of the Four Horsemen, and I can't have the Narcomoeba because I don't have any blue in here. But Sir Conrad, whenever another creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card that leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad the Grim deals 1 damage to each opponent. Fuck. And then each player puts, for your 2 cost, each player puts the top card of their library into their graveyard. And if it's a creature, they're losing life too. Fuck. Lose a card, lose a life. 4 Horsemen. You should be playing him more often. You don't see him a lot. He is amazing. Rancor. If you're playing anything green, you need to have Rancor in it. Why? Because it is an enchantment creature. Though the enchanted creature gains +2 and has trample. And then when Rancor is put into a graveyard from play, return it to the owner's hand. And he's super small, so he is never going out. Just keep that in mind. He is never going out. So when you're playing anything with green, play your Rancor. Graft Digger's Cage. Artifact Cage. This is entrapment. This is just to slow the game down. Creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. Creature cards in the graveyard and libraries can't enter the battlefield. You just shut down for a 1 cost. You just shut down a player. You just shut down a player for 1 cost. You get to sit in your opening hand. That's game. That player is going to punch you in the dick. That's game. So moving on, you got Ilharg the Raised Boar. He gets nasty. Legendary creature. He's a boar god that has trample, 6/6 trample, and whenever Ilharg the Raised Boar attacks, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Return that creature to your hand at the beginning of your next end step. When Ilharg the Raised Boar dies or is put into exile from the graveyard, you may put it into its owner's library, 3rd from the top. He just keeps on cycling. He gets huge, and then you can get out your Galta really fucking quick with him. He's an amazing card. If you don't play boars, you should. Boars are amazing. The Crypt Intrusion instant. Exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. You gain 3 life for each card exiled this way. Life card. It's going to get huge. It's going to get disgusting. But look at that card art. That's just disgusting. Look at that. There's a lotus. There's another lotus. There's another lotus. This is kind of like looks kind of like Skyrim. Amazing card. You got to put a Soul Sister in there, and for a 1 cost, Essence Warden. So whenever another creature comes into play, you gain 1 life. So this is just giving you life after life after life after life. You're gaining life all the time. Amazing card. Great card. You got to have your Soul Sisters. Well, you don't have to, but it just annoys people. Moving on. Your next card is your Sanguine Bond. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. You're going to be getting a lot of life, so target opponents, whatever you want to target, it's an enchantment. They're just going to lose life. Dark Ritual. It's an instant, but they call it interrupt because it's old as fuck. So you just add 3 black to your mana pool. For 1 cost, you're adding 3. He's great. Shock. You all know what Shock is. It just deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Leyline Prowler. Death Touch, lifelink, and adds 1 mana of any color. 2/2, or 2/3. But when he taps, add your mana. Keep that mana going. Paradise Druid. She has hexproof as long as she is untapped. And whenever you tap her, bloop, add 1 mana of any color. As you can see, you're not going to have any problems getting mana on here. That's why you're just running small amounts of basic lands. Lovestruck Beast. Just amazing card art. Beauty and the Beast. So for 1 green sorcery, you create a 1/1 white human creature token. And then for your 3 cost, Lovestruck Beast can't attack unless you can control a 1/1 creature. So boom, and then you can attack. And he attacks for 5/5, and he's a super low cost. Tibalt, the Rakish Instigator. Your opponents can't gain life. Create a 1/1 Red Devil creature token. When this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any. So he doesn't gain loyalty, but your opponents can't gain life. And you can get 2 1/1 creature tokens out there that deal damage. Yeah, he's a dick. Rankle, Master of the Pranks. Of course, he was in here. He has Flying and Haste, and he comes at a cost. But whenever Rankle, Master of the Pranks, deals combat damage to a player, choose any number. Each player discards a card. Each player loses 1 life and draws a card, or each player sacrifices a creature. He's just an amazing card. He's better than Oko. I don't care what anybody says. Moving on, of course, there was Questing Beast in here. And if you don't know what Questing Beast is, he has Vigilance, Death Touch, and Haste. And Questing Beast can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. So those annoying 1/1 tokens can't block him. Combat damage that would be dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented. And whenever Questing Beast deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to a target Planeswalker that player controls. Sorry, my son was kicking my arm. So, yeah, if they control Planeswalkers, they're doing damage on it. He's doing damage, regardless. Blasphemous Act. So Blasphemous Act costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield, so you can get him out super cheap. Blasphemous Act deals 13 damage to each creature. Field wipe. Black Blade Reforged for a 2 cost. Equipment Artifact, Legendary Artifact. Equipped creature gets a 1/1 for each land you control, so they can get huge. You can equip a Legendary creature for 3, or you just a regular creature for 7. So this is going to get your creatures huge. Everything's getting your creatures huge. Vraska, the Golgari Queen. Of course she's in there, right? So for your +2, you may sacrifice another permanent. If you do, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Your neg 3, destroy target a non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. And your neg 9, you get an emblem with whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. Instant game winner. Well, not instant, you gotta build her up, but you know what I mean. Savvy Hunter. Whenever Savvy Hunter attacks or blocks, create a food token. So, sacrifice 2 food tokens, draw a card, but no, you're going to keep those for your life. Because it's Savvy. Savvy? Ha! Jack Sparrow. That's sexy. Look at that. Look at that card art. That's sexy. Happy Valentine's Day indeed. Regisar Alpha. Of course it's in there because you got Ghalta. Other dinosaurs you control have haste. When Regisar Alpha enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with trample. perfect song just came on. It's a celebration song. Trolls. Ha! Helm of the Host. If you're not playing this card, you should be, because at the beginning of combat, on your turn, create a token that's a copy of equipped creature. Except that token isn't legendary if equipped creature is legendary. That token gains haste. Copies every creature. Yeah. So why sacrifice your creature when you can just sacrifice that token? Nesting Dragon. Flying. And has landfall. And so whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, create a negative, or create a 0/2 red dragon egg creature token with Defender, and when this creature dies, create a 2/2 red dragon creature token with flying, and for a 1 cost, this creature gets a +1/+1 until the end of the turn. Landfall that gets huge, and it's creatures on top of creatures. This is a creature spammer. Aetherflux Reservoir. Whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. Pay 50 life. Aetherflux Reservoir deals 50 damage to target creature or player. Game Ender. Because you're going to get tons of life. Game Ender. Skullcrack. Players can't gain life this turn. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Skullcrack deals 3 damage to target creature. This is if you're rocking mana red. This is your Game Ender. Paradise Mantle at a 0 cost. Play this card for free. Equipped creature has add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. And you equip it for 1. So, yeah. Creatures just add mana. Master of Cruelties. This card's just mean. It's just mean. First Strike and Death Touch. Master of Cruelties can only attack alone. Whenever Master of Cruelties attacks a player and isn't blocked, that player's life total becomes 1. Master of Cruelties assigns no combat damage this combat. Yeah. So they have to block him. He's going to go 1-on-1 against them, and he has First Strike and Death Touch. So he's removing cards, and yeah, that's how you can end the game with him. He's cruel. He's mean. Revenge of the Ravens. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, that creature's controller loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Not bad. Harsh Mentor. Whenever an opponent activates an ability or an artifact, creature or land on the battlefield, if it isn't a mana ability, Harsh Mentor deals 2 damage to that player. This can go against you, but you've got tons of life gain in here, so you don't worry about it, but everybody else is going to be getting hit. It's harsh. You can get him out kind of early and hold him too, if you wanted. Rampaging Brontodon. Trample. Whenever Rampaging Brontodon attacks, it gets a 1/1 until end of turn for each land you control. Starting off at a 7/7 and building them up for every land. Not just basic land, every land. Murderous Rider. Of course it's going to be in there. What is Murderous Rider? Well, it's an adventure card, and for your instant, for the 3 cost, you can destroy target creature or planeswalker. But you lose 2 life. Not bad. Bring him out of exile for that 3 cost again. Has lifelink, and when Murderous Rider dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. So, this card never really gets exiled. He just keeps on getting recycled. If you're not playing Murderous Rider with Sir Conrad, you're stupid. Putrefy. Destroy target artifact or creature. It can't be regenerated. You got to play this in a Jund deck. You got to. Omnath, Locus of Rage, another landfall. You got to have your landfall. He is just a typical Jund. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 5/5 red and green elemental creature token onto the battlefield. Whenever Omnath, Locus of the Rage, or another elemental you control dies, Omnath deals 3 damage to target creature or player. So he deals 5 plus 3. Then those elemental creature tokens, they're going to die, and you're going to get more. Great card. Typical John card, though. Thunderous Might. Enchantment creature. So when you enchant your creature, whenever enchanted creature attacks, it gets X 0 until end of turn, where X is your devotion to red. You got plenty of red, and that is that little symbol. That's your devotion. Underworld Cerberus. It's a hound. This is a nasty card. Underworld Cerberus can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures. Cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities, so this is when he's out there, you can't pull him out of your graveyard. And when Underworld Cerberus dies, exile it, and each player returns all creature cards from his or her graveyard to his or her hand. That's why you want Reliquary Tower, because when he dies, your hand can get huge, and you don't have to get rid of those to bring it down. Of course, there's Embercleave in here. And what is Embercleave? If you're not sure, it has Flash. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature you control. And you got a lot, so he can come out for free. When Embercleave enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets a +1/+1 and has double strike and a trample. So not only does he have regular combat damage and first strike, he does double strike. So he's hitting you and then hitting you again. And they get huge. Curse of the Bloodletting, another curse. Enchant player. If a source would deal damage to enchanted player, it deals double that damage to the player. So you get this out early, player's going to die. Sangromancer, flying. When a creature an opponent controls dies, you gain 3 life. Whenever an opponent discards a card, you may gain 3 life. So as long as she's on there, you're gaining life. Like I said, you don't worry about your life in this one. Precision Bolt. Precision Bolt deals 3 damage to any target. Doing that damage. You're just people hate you with this deck. Endless Cockroaches. Haha. This is an amazing card. Everybody forgets about it because nobody ever plays insects. But when Endless Cockroaches dies, return it to your owner's hand, and you just keep on playing it. Just keep on playing it because it's endless. It's Endless Cockroaches. Then Helmet of Host, you can copy it if you want it, and just keep it on, keep it on. With your Windgrace, you can copy them and just keep on playing them. You can infest people with cockroaches. Thrashing Brontodon. For 1 cost, you sacrifice Thrashing Brontodon, destroy target artifact or enchantment, or you can keep him on the battlefield. It's an either or. He's on there just to get rid of artifacts and enchantments. But he is pretty strong. The Karen Wanderer is a changeling shapeshifter. This card is every creature type at all times, and as long as a creature card with flying is in the graveyard, Karen Wanderer has flying. The same is true for Fear, First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Haste, Landwalk, Lifelink, Protection, Reach, Trample, Shroud, and Vigilance. He is everything that is in your deck, because people are going to remove it. So you want to hold him, and he becomes everything. Everything you have. Just amazing. That's it. He's just an amazing card. He really is. Out of all the shapeshifters, this is your best one. Out of all your changelings, that is the best one. Necropede. He has Infect, so an insect with Infect. This creature deals damage to creatures in the form of -1/1 counters, -1/1 counters, and to a players in the form of poison counters. When Necropede is put into a graveyard, from the battlefield, you may put a -1/1 counter on target creature. When they get, I believe it's 5, it depends on which play house rules, but when they get 8 poison counters, they lose the game. So he gets really big, really fast. He's an artifact, so he's hard to remove. Yeah, he's gonna win games for you. Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt deals 3 damage to a target creature or player. You gotta have that burn damage. And another great giant in here, the Beanstalk Giant. Sorcery Adventure. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Beanstalk Giant Power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. So he can get huge. Not just basic lands, all lands. He can get huge. And then you can search him again and find more land to make him even bigger. And he's kind of a high cost to get out, but he gets huge. Of course he does, because he's a giant. Ripjaw Raptor. You knew he was in here. You saw all the dinosaurs. He has Enrage. Whenever Ripjaw Raptor is dealt damage, draw a card. You knew he was in there. You knew he was in there. That's just beautiful. Beautiful card art. Look at that. Alright. Rackdos the Showstopper. This is just a fun card. You're going to pull this out and people are going to look at you. Flying and Trample. When Rackdos the Showstopper enters the battlefield, flip a coin for each creature that isn't a demon, devil, or imp. Destroy each creature whose coin comes up tails. Just a fun way to do a field wipe, essentially, for free. Gut Mob. Early game changer that people are going to forget about, and he gets huge. How does he get huge? At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 5 or more lands, put 4 1/1 counters on Scut Mob, and it just grows and grows and grows and grows. So you can get him out early. People are going to forget about him, and he's going to get huge. Rotting Reggie. You gotta hit. There was dinosaurs. You knew it was happening. Rotting Regisaur. Zombie dinosaur. At the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card. And he's huge. He's huge. Small cost for huge. Lava Axe. Lava Axe. Lava Axe deals 5 damage to target player. Gotta get that burn damage. Rackdos Charm. I kind of made a Rackdos deck here, but it's not Rackdos at all. It is definitely Jund. So choose one. Exile all cards from target player's graveyard, or destroy target artifact, or each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. So that can destroy a player if you wanted to. He's Rackdos. And a Jund deck. That's cursed. Ha! It's a cursed Jund. You get it now, right? Rampaging Bailiffs is a beast with trample and landfall. You got your trifecta of your landfalls. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. And it's 6. So you saw him that was in there. You knew it was coming. They get big, they get huge, they get nasty, and you gotta play them. This one, I'll save that one for last. We'll go ahead and do this guy. Calder Familiar goes with Witch's Oven. Why? Because whenever Calder Familiar enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Sacrifice a food, return Calder Familiar from your graveyard to the battlefield. With Witch's Oven, endless cycle, you can just kill people and get endless life. So that's why that one's in there because I have Witch's Cauldron. And that's just great card art. I mean, is that like Sam from, what was that movie, with the witches? You get it. Copyright infringement. But yeah, you get it. And this card in here, he's a poop monster. Sewer Nemesis. He's a poop monster. It's a monster made of shit. He's poop. He's defecated. As Sewer Nemesis enters the battlefield, choose a player. Sewer Nemesis's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in the chosen player's graveyard. Whenever the chosen player casts a spell, that player puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. You put that on a player, you choose a player, and you just call them shit. Because they're in a bunch of shit. And there you have it, guys. My son's done with your shit for today. Watching Trolls, he's ready for bed. But that is how you make a Jund Commander EDH. And like I said, it is cursed. It is filled with curses. It is filled with landfall. It is filled with lifelink, deathtouch. It is a cursed deck. By no means, when I created this, was it made to specifically win. It is not like my Challenger deck. It is not like my Boris deck. This was actually made to actually have fun with my friends and to keep me into a game for a while. I didn't expect it to be OP as fuck. But yeah, this is like a $300 deck that I put together, pieced together, piece by piece, specifically looking for my theme for keeping it cursed and keeping it junned. But yeah, if you guys like what you see about this, comment, subscribe, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, challenge me, I'll beat you. I will. So until next time, guys.